Yeah, you were scarred, and you were crying loud, right out in the schoolyard. And yeah, I felt good. Everything I knew was looking just as it should. And I saw the tree, carved in it 666, and he found me. But I am no fool. I know every time I look in his eyes, he sees me too. Dry your eyes. I won't tell your mother. She won't ever discover the things you kept under the covers. And please don't cry. I am not your brother. I am not your lover. And there is nothing wrong. This song has been my favorite for a long time now. Perhaps it is the contrast of such haunting lyrics accompanied by this somehow quite comforting and nostalgic melody. Either way, it speaks to the absolute genius of this track. Alex G's lyricism is undeniably next level. I first Googled the meaning behind this song while traveling to London last spring. I don't know why, but throughout that trip, I had this track playing on repeat. I wanted to know the lore behind it. I often do this, become so obsessed with something that it practically consumes all of my time and energy. I felt that my intuitive fondness and obsession with this song was validated as I took the song apart line by line. No wonder I connected with it so much, even if much of that connection was heavily visceral prior to understanding the depths of these lyrics. In the first few lines, we can envision a schoolyard setting. Two characters appear, possibly children or teenagers. It's unclear. What we know is that one is the narrator and the other we only know through the narrator's depictions of them. Yeah, you were scarred, and you were crying loud right out in the schoolyard. I don't know why, but I picture this scene to be cloudy and obscure. Two figures standing near each other, one in distress and the other watching, almost admiring that distress. And yeah, I felt good. Everything I knew was looking just as it should. Then there is a tree, and carved in it are the numbers 666, which is often thought of as an evil or cursed number in Western culture. Interestingly enough, in other cultures, such as the Japanese culture, the numbers 444 carry a similar connotation. The narrator goes on to say that he is no fool. Perhaps this means he recognizes himself as he is. Perhaps he is fully aware of what he has done, if he has done anything. I know every time I look in his eyes, he sees me too. Again, we assume that this alludes back to the numbers 666. Perhaps he is talking about the devil. This makes me think of Nietzsche's famous quote, "Stare into the abyss, and the abyss stares back into you." It isn't so much remorse, I don't think. It is more a simple recognizing. He has become the darkness he observes, and he knows this. The last part gets a little bit more specific regarding the kind of situation we might be dealing with here. Dry your eyes. I won't tell your mother. She won't ever discover the things you kept under the covers. And please don't cry. I am not your brother. I am not your lover. And there is nothing wrong. The narrator sees that the other character is crying, and this either agitates or confuses him because he tells them to stop. Then a list of justifications follow. I won't tell your mother. She won't ever discover the things you kept under the covers. What won't be discovered is the question we should ask. What hidden thing must be swept away by words and by time? Again, the narrator reiterates this. Please don't cry. I am not your brother. I am not your lover. We see somewhat of a metaphorical distancing here between the narrator and the other character. A distancing that the narrator is trying to make apparent. Perhaps he says this for himself more than to convince the other character. Maybe to justify the coldness and the lack of empathy he feels. Why should he care? He isn't a special person to the other character. And then the song ends with, "And there is nothing wrong." The entire song paints a picture of something being very wrong. Perhaps this song is about abuse. It is not clear what kind of abuse, although I do have my guesses. But one thing is very clear. The psychological state of our narrator is not healthy. He is not bothered by the absolute distress of our other character. In fact, he seems to get some sort of twisted satisfaction out of it. Either way, this song is an important one. I think it's one of Alex G's best songs, actually. There are very few songs I have listened to as many times as I have listened to this one. As a songwriter myself, I very much appreciate the genius of it. Although the song alludes to insanely dark subject matter, it is catchy and transcendent in a way that lulls its listener into an eerie sort of peace with the discomfort. But I suppose that is how abuse works, and that in itself is a further testament to the genius of this song.